works. So we'll go ahead and start Minitab here in a minute. And let me share screen and share Minitab screen. Now, could you see Minitab?
Yes, I see it.
Great. So it should be full screen on your computer. If you have anything to say, use the chat room, or you could use call in to or dial into the number provided in the instructions. Otherwise, use your audio from your computer. And there is a task pane that seems to pop up or disappear as you hover over it, and it's not docked to your bottom station. So try to use that and get familiar with this system, as we might anticipate using it going forward. Here is Minitab. And Minitab is the statistical software, as you know. Eugene, you might have to mute your phone if you don't mind, so we're not getting some echoes here. So Minitab is a statistical software. I use it tremendously with our for any Six Sigma projects. Green belt, black belt, doesn't matter. There's so many things in this program that you can leverage in order for you to do any of the statistical analysis. What I see people do is they try to go and reinvent the wheel. They try to do SPC on Excel. Microsoft Excel is not necessarily meant for statistics. You can do so many functionalities and statistical analysis within Excel, like histogram, maybe some Pareto's, things of that nature. But you'd rather live with Minitab or SPSS, or the other one is SAS, right? So there are so many softwares out there that you can leverage. I find this one to be very user-friendly compared to, for example, SAS. SPSS, I have very limited, experience with the SPSS. So with Minitab, what you could do is you could do pretty much everything, starting with the measure phase all the way to control phase. So mainly measure, analyze, and improve could be done through Minitab. And we've talked about affinity diagram. If you want to do affinity diagram on Minitab, that's not going to work. Affinity diagram, you might use Microsoft Visio in order to put those categories in place and show boxes here and there. So this is not a drawing software. If you're using it for that purpose, then you're probably going about using it the wrong way. So affinity diagram, you can't do it here. Same thing with interrelationship diagram. Don't do it on Minitab. It's not even feasible. So try to use Visio or any other kind of drawing softwares, AutoCAD, what do you name it. Whereas if you're doing SPC, statistical process control, and you try to do all different types of SPCs, IMR charts, XBAR charts, XBAR S charts, the P chart, U charts, C charts, you name it, EWMA, and the QSUM and run chart, all of those are available here on Minitab. And with quick clicks of buttons, you'll be easily accessing those possibilities. For example, I know most of you might be wanting to know more about how to do ANOVA through Minitab. Well, pretty simple. Let me make it as simple as it could get without you having to take notes or watch the recording. This is going to make it much simpler than ever before. Go to the help section, and you might think I'm crazy. Why is he showing us the help section? We all know there is help section, but honestly, in the help section, you will find pretty much anything you would like to know about. And it gives you many books dedicated for Six Sigma and mainly Six Sigma statistics. So you go to the help section, and once you click help section on the top menu, then you click help. Next thing you'll see is a window that pops up. Just bear with me here 1 second. And what you see here is something called contents, and then there is the index tab and there is the search tab. If you have this one selected instead, just go and select the contents. And once you select the contents, you go straight down to statistics and click this plus. It's right here. And now you have a full exposure to different concepts of statistics, including the analysis of variance, or the ANOVA. So once you click here to expand, you have all the different types of the ANOVA just listed out for you to read about. So for example, let's go to the overview. And once you expand on the overview, you'll see the overview section. And now you can read through this section to understand more about what the ANOVA means. I'm not going to read this for you, but I just good to show you certain tricks here. Everything that is highlighted or underscored as a hyperlink, once you click it, sometimes you see this window pops up. And sometimes it takes you to a different window. For example, if we click too simple t-test, it just takes, well, not this one particularly. Maybe if we click, let's just see here. All of them tend to pull up a window. But you see here, there are visuals, there are paragraphs, and there are examples. Now let me ask you, how do you tend to find this? Very helpful, isn't it? Hello?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I'm having issues with seeing the screen. It's almost like the screen froze up.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I asked because I don't want you to. Oh, I see. So I was talking the whole time and none of you told me anything. Okay. Share screen. In fact, the reason why it did froze up because I need to share my desktop, and now I'm back here. Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So let me close this out. Let us start over very quick. Now, can you see the Minitab?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So we click on the help section. It's not your fault, it was my fault. What I did is I selected what to share, so you will only see in the program of Minitab. So when I opened the help section, it didn't recognize that. So I'm sorry about it. We go to the help section, and now you have full control over what you want to read as far as the help sections in Minitab. You see this tab here. Once it's activated, you can go down and click statistics. And once you expand on statistics, you can then expand on analysis of variance, which is the ANOVA. And then once you expand on the ANOVA, now you can go to the overview. All I'm doing is I'm clicking this pluses here to expand. And then I click overview. And once I click overview, you could definitely read much about the ANOVA and what it means, that whole overview of ANOVA and how it compares to regression, how should your x's be, how should your y's be, which one is continuous variable, which one is categorical variable or qualitative, what is the difference between the ANOVA and the two-sample t-test, so on and so forth. So this is an overview where you could read through this. When you see these hyperlinks, that are blue and underscored, once you click this underline, another window pops up. You can see the window popping up, showing more further explanations around the response and predictor variables. Same thing here with the predictor variables and so on and so forth. Now you want to know more about the one-way ANOVA. You click the one-way and you could go to perform a one-way ANOVA, and it will tell you exactly what is the definition of one-way ANOVA. How to set it up on your spreadsheet or worksheet, and how to run the one-way ANOVA. Here is an example. Once you click an example here, it will tell you exactly, it gives you an example. And let me read this through for you. You design an experiment to assess the durability of 4 experimental carpet products. And you place a sample of each of the carpet products in 4 homes, and you measure durability after 60 days. Because you wish to test the equality of means and to assess the differences in means, you use the one-way ANOVA procedure. Data in stacked form with multiple comparisons. Generally, you would choose one multiple comparison method as appropriate for your data. However, 2 methods are selected here to demonstrate Minitab's capabilities. So how would you go about running this example and following through with Minitab? All you have to do is copy this name of worksheet. So I highlight this and I right-click and I go copy. And then I minimize this and I go File, and then Open Worksheets. Once I'm here, I can go to look in Minitab data folders, and I can just do Control V to paste and then do Open. And ta-da, we have the file open, the worksheet with the data from Minitab. So we didn't have to make up anything. Data came pre-set up from Minitab, and it's ready for us to use. So now how do we go about running ANOVA? Simple, we just have to go back to the help section and follow through with this. See how it says stat, ANOVA, and one way. Then let's do this very quick. Stat, ANOVA, one way. See how we go about it?
Yes.
And now once I select this, what do I put in response? What do I put in the factor? Well, as you know, with the ANOVA, the factor or the X, just remember these terminologies might be confusing to you. Factor is the same as when we say X, is the same as we say input variable, it's the same as we say maybe slightly different from the covariate. It's the same as we say, just remember the X's are referred to as factors, and the Y's, or the output variable, is represented as a response variable, responding to the changes in the X's, so you never forget that. Now, what do we put in the factor? For the ANOVA, you remember that the factor is what? Let's look at it very quick. In the help section, the response is the durability, and the factor is the carpet. All right, so response, we just click this twice. See what it says, durability? I have my mouse over that. I can click it twice quickly, and it automatically goes where the cursor has been selected. If I want to enter carpet and the factor, I just hit this twice, carpet, or I can just write C2. I prefer, instead of typing, because I might cause a typo or something, I just double click, and now I have my response to be durability and my factor to be carpet. Once I have that, I'm gonna leave the confidence level at 95%, meaning that the alpha is set at 0.05. You know, alpha is the type 1 error, and now I'm not going to change that. I'm going to comparisons, and for the comparisons, I'm just going to choose Taki's method, which is the top one. For me, this is the most easy to work with, and it's more reliable. The rest are good, but they have their own set of circumstances on when to use them. You can definitely use Taki's and HSU's as Minitab help section is instructing you to do. I just tend to use this one instead. I select this, and I click OK. If I want to generate any graphs, I just see what I clicked on. I clicked on graphs, and then I'm going to select individual value plots and the box plots of data. And for the residual plots, to ensure that my model makes more sense, I select 4-in-1 to show the histogram of residuals, the normal plots of residuals, and so on and so forth. So I just select this, and I click OK. And then another OK. And there you go. This is visually showing a box plot comparing the 4 different types of carpets and their durability as it shows on the y-axis, because we chose durability to be the response variable and we chose the carpet to be the factor. So that's why it's showing up on the x-axis. Now it's comparing 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Visually, you could say, I can easily tell that 1 is different from 2 and 2 is different from 3, and maybe 3 and 1 might be similar, maybe 4 and 3 might be similar. So rather than making that comparison visually, which could be misleading, the best way to go about this is, yes, maintain the graph, keep it, use it, but support it with data, and mainly statistical data. So the best way to go about that is by going back, by clicking this button right here, Show Session Folder. Once you click Show Session Folder and you scroll up, if you scroll up, just click in here, and you will see the output generated based on the comparison that you selected, which is the Taki's method. And it starts from here. You see a heading that says one-way ANOVA, durability versus carpet. The first thing we look at from the get-go in Minitab is the p-value. And the p-value here, as we see, is 0.047. Okay? This 0.047 is less than alpha of 0.05. So I want you to make sure you remember this. The lower the p-value, the higher the rejection of the null hypothesis. The lower the p-value, the higher the rejection of the null hypothesis. So here, our p-value is lower than alpha. Alpha, as you know, is the type 1 error. So we always compare p-value to alpha. It shows as 0.047, where alpha is 0.05. We automatically reject the null hypothesis. What does the null hypothesis say? Null is a term used for zero, for nothing, for no difference. Okay? So our null hypothesis was saying there was no difference between the different type of carpets. Whereas the alternative hypothesis is the opposite of the null hypothesis, which means that they're different. In this case, it's proven that it's different using the p-value. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Good. So how different? Are they all different? Not necessarily. when you compare using the Taki's method, which is this section right here, what you're looking for is these groupings. You see how these groupings showing some letters? Well, the ones that are sharing the same letter are not significantly different, and those that are not sharing the same letter are significantly different. So in this case, carpet what? Can anybody tell me? If we compare these carpets, which ones are the same and which ones are different?
2 and 3 are the same.
Who?
1 and 3.
1 and 3, perfect. And which ones are different?
4 and 2.
Exactly. Visually, would you be able to tell? Let me go back. Visually, would you be able to tell that that 1 and 3 are similar? Yeah, it's iffy, right? This is why it's good to support your analysis based on data. Okay? So remember 2 things from the ANOVA testing. 2 main things. One is you look at your p-value and you compare it to alpha. If it is lower than 0.05, guess what? The lower the p-value, the higher the rejection of the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis showing the saying there are no differences, whereas the alternative hypothesis say there is difference. Once you go, based on that interpretation, you go back to the grouping and you look at the letters and see it's already here. There is a comment that says means that do not share a letter are significantly different. Now you're going to ask, well, Professor, when am I ever going to use this ANOVA? Is this one in the blue moon that we're going to use it? No. You'll be using it, in fact, more than a lot of the tools available in the Six Sigma toolbox. ANOVA compares more than 2 populations. What does that mean? Can anybody tell me? What does that mean when we say ANOVA compares the means, the averages of more than 2 populations? Like 3 populations and more. What do you mean by that? Could you give me an example? I'll tell you an example. If you want to compare 3 different professors, okay? And you want to see if their students' average score is similar. Teaching the same course, so they're teaching the same course, QSO 360. And you took 3 professors and you took the score for the students, the percentages, and you want to compare them and make a claim that the test scores for all these 3 professors is the same, or it's different. And which one is different from the rest? Okay? That's one example. If you want to compare 3 machines, okay? Or 4 machines, you can do the same thing. The machine is the factor, maybe the weight of the package is the response variable. It has to be a continuous variable. If you want to compare 4 different production lines in terms of their throughput, in terms of their quality per hour, you can use ANOVA. Does that make sense? In this case, we used ANOVA to compare 4 different carpets and their durability. There are so many ways you could use ANOVA. When I worked for Oscar Mayer in their Lunchable line, unfortunately, we have 10 minutes left, and I want to open this for Q&A. When I worked for them in the Lunchable section, I was their continuous improvement lead engineer, and what I had to do is look at 4 different production lines and see if they are producing to the customer specification or specified weight on the package. So I take 25 packages out of each production line, and I go and weigh each package, and I say, this is production line number 1, and I put all the weights in that column, 1 through 25. Then production line number 2, and I go and grab 25 packages randomly, and I go to the scale, and I put them, and I weigh them. And I do that for 3 and 4 and 5. And then I compare them with ANOVA. So what I have in Minitab, I have something that looks like this. New sheet. There you go. So I have this sheet. I have production line 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then here I have the weights. The first one was 4.2 ounces. The second one, 4.25, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm going to open this for Q&A. Go ahead. We have 8 minutes left.
Eugene, did you have any questions? I figured I'd let you ask first.
Not specifically about this, but Professor, I realized that I failed to submit last week 3's quiz. I'm going to finish that up after the session and submit it. Do I submit it under week 3 in the same area?
Yes, you do. And there will be a 10% late penalty, unfortunately.
Sure, I understand. That's
yes. But that wouldn't cost you more than 2 points anyway.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions?
No, I'm good.
I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I mean, I'm good, Michelle. Your turn.
Okay. So for this week, I chose hypothesis testing for 3 different variables: test scores, turnover, and sales.
Mm-hmm.
So then what I did was I went to the assistant and had the assistant help me out. So I chose the test number as when it's asking me what I want to compare it to. So I chose like the test number as the number that we want it to be. We want it to be at least 70%. So is that what I'm supposed to do, or am I supposed to
Okay,
set it up
that's a good question.
way?
If you're doing
I set it up
hypothesis,
as 3 different hypothesis tests within. It's all on the same worksheet, but 3 different tests.
that's fine. So there are the hypothesis testing. If you want to run hypothesis testing through Minitab, there is the stat, basic statistics, and then you have all of these for hypothesis testing. Okay? If you're comparing those values to a 1 set value, something that is a standard value, or your benchmark value, or what your manager said we need to be targeting or should be at, or anything of that nature, what you use is a 1 sample T. Okay? I should say stay away from 1 sample Z, because with 1 sample Z you need to know the population variance before you do the 1 sample Z. Most of the times you don't know the population variance. Okay?
Right.
So
I'm thinking I used T.
okay, that's good.
T or T, but since I don't know what the variable is, then I'm sure I use T.
Okay, that's good. So 1 sample T is what you use to compare to a certain value. I always recommend to have at least 30 data points in order to generate these kind of hypothesis testing. The minimum.
Yeah, I did 30 months worth of data.
Good, good. If you want to compare 2 populations, you use the 2 sample T. Okay? But if you compare the 1 population to a certain value, to a certain number, then you use 1 sample T. And your hypothesis saying, is my mean of this sample of 30 data points is equal or significantly different from this value of 70% target. Okay?
Got it.
If you're using proportions, you use the 1 proportion. If you're using the rate of occurrence, you're using the 1 sample Poisson rate. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, for example, the proportion we use defectives. okay? Percent defective, you use proportion. If you're using the percent defect or the rate of occurrence or any kind of nature of examples of that nature, you use the one sample plus. Of course, if you still have questions, best way to go about this is you click and now you're not sure what to do. Okay, great. You click on the help section and suddenly you're right here. And then you can go to the example and see what kind of example are we talking about. And here is an example here that talks about company A manufactures televisions and has counted the number of units with defective screens. See, we just talked about defectives. They produce each quarter for the past 10 years. Said that 20 defective units per quarter is the maximum. See, that's what we're comparing to. 20 defective units per quarter, and they want to determine whether their factory meets this specification. Very good example that illustrates when to use one sample Poisson rate. And it goes about how to go about it, where to click, what to choose in the sample columns, what do you perform as a hypothesis test, and the hypothesized rate, and so on and so forth. And then, this is what I've been asking for, is to put an interpretation to your results. A lot of people has just been putting a graph, or they've been putting a lot of verbiage that not relate to the graph. So when you generate some output out of Minitab, make sure that you put some interpretation to the results. Are you failing? Are they significantly different? Why are you saying they're significantly different? What supports your data? Is it the p-value? Is it the Tuckey's method? Is it what are you doing to claim what you claim? Because sometimes this could be costly and you're making some claims without supportive data. So I want to make sure I change that kind of mindset. Don't make subjective decisions. Don't make decisions that are not based on data analysis. That is what Six Sigma is all about. Any more questions?
I'll tell you one thing, this would be a wonderful site for our group chats.
That's great. Yeah, you guys could definitely leverage this tool. It's free. Go and it's zoom.us. Once you're there, go to the plans. And once you're in the plans, go and select the free package. 40 minutes, that's all you could get. You can record it. You can have videos and people can chat with each other. We have 1 minute left and I apologize. This is all we can get. And is there anything else?
No, thank you very much, Professor.
No, thank you. That was extremely helpful.
All right. Well, I'm glad it was. Enjoy it. Spend some time here in Minitab. Get yourself familiar. There is SBC. There is pretty much everything you could look for. Control charts are here. Don't miss out on this opportunity where you can integrate as many tools as you possibly can. Pareto's, run charts, cause and effect is here. So gauge study, R&R, we studied that in the measure phase. So much stuff you can do within Minitab. So enjoy it. We'll record this video and we'll put it on the announcement page.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Have fun. Good luck.
Yep. Good night. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Good night.